Hi, it's What If Wednesday time with Susan Bennett Fisher and Martin Fisher, the co-founders of Body of Nine. What if you knew all the different ways that understanding Body of Nine could affect your wellness?
Yes, wellness is becoming more and more a way of thinking about the world, a way of thinking about your decisions, because as people get to live longer, then the more that you can be well, the longer you can live, but also the more that you can enjoy living that long life.
And understanding your natural number helps on many planes of by first understanding your physiology and how your body works. So each of the natural numbers has a movement area, and that movement area is where the movement is centered. So if you have hurt yourself, understanding where your movement is centered is a very important aspect of recovery. Also, having your practitioner understand where your movement is centered is also very important.
One of the things that we find when we do our wellness routines, we actually work out 2 or 3 times a week as well as cycling and doing other motion things, is that it's very easy to do certain moves. For me, most of the moves that involve standing up and down turn out to be really easy. Any moves that involve other parts of my body get to be a little bit harder. And I think that's the same for you in a different way. Huh?
Very much so. I also pay a lot of attention to when we're taking our bike rides. And I actually play around with trying to ride my bicycle by activating different parts of my body. So one day I was activating my 5, and I realized that when I activate my 5 and I ride, the rest of the body is suspended below. So I stopped. Otherwise I ride like this with my chest. And it just changed the whole riding experience.
So what this means is that if you know your natural number, you know the other parts of your body that you can be working on to make sure that you're all as healthy as the part that supports your natural number.
Right, because we do, our movement's initiated there. We tend to put that part of our body forward. And over time, if we do that too much, we can actually develop imbalances. That's the universe. It's a wake-up call. Need to know your natural number. So you, depending on how your body's activated, you can develop ways of overcompensating. You know, often 5s will put their head forward to balance, so they'll develop a little bit of a roll. So you, as you age and as you develop, understanding how your body moves and where it comes from, where your power is centered, how you balance, are all very, very important. What we've seen is when we've identified people that are in their 80s, their movement area is still where they're strongest in their body. And they still get more balanced. Even if they think they have terrible balance, when we activate their natural number, they get more balanced. So it's another way that this can help you is in your movement and in recovery. And so physically, this is hugely helpful for information.
Now imagine the situation. You're going to live to be 100 years old. If you're lucky, you're going to live longer than that. You don't want to live on your own, do you? Well, perhaps you do. So I think one of the things that knowing your natural number really helps with is the ability to connect with other people, to be in community.
And to value and enjoy engagement.
Yes. Because I believe that human beings are best when in connection. And I'm speaking as a natural number 5 who really didn't even value connection until I really managed to activate my own natural number. And I think it's possibly more of a personal thing because I know that there are many natural number 5s that actually do enjoy and understand connection, but I'm not totally sure. But from my personal experiences,
I think a lot of that's about language. It's not that 5s don't enjoy connection. It's just, it's not your go-to place.
Yes. But it's also a lot easier now that I can activate all my other numbers so that I can connect to people. And there's an element of having all 9 activated in our bodies that I think is the ultimate way to support wellness in the body.
I think so too, because it creates a balance. It also gives you other ways of functioning. So if your main natural number isn't really on today, adding another one in can help you recover and get more grounded into your body. We teach a meditation exercise that's available on our special.tv/Body of Nine, our TV channel, that teaches you to run the energies through your whole body so you get more balanced in your body.
And if you actually work with a health practitioner that knows where these centers are in the body, they can help you activate or at least exercise all 9 centers so that that helps your body prepare to be able to activate all 9, because the activation process is part physical and part metaphysical. So there is
intentional.
Intentional,
Yeah.
yes. So there is definitely a balance depending on your even-numberedness or your odd-numberedness about which one becomes first, but it is not just a physical process to activate, neither is it just an intentional process.
It also affects your mental health.
Yes.
So it's a first step for activating your observer. We've talked about that a number of times in our Practices for Presence book. When you turn your observer on, you start to be able to quiet those voices in your head. So you're able to observe your behavior and make choices about your belief systems and those things that we say to ourselves. So we have new ways of approaching life. This can dramatically affect your mental health.
And I think there's an element of honesty that comes with being able to be activated. I think it's somewhat hard to mislead ourselves when we're actually in a place of activation, because the being in activation tends to throw away or drop out some of those layers of misdirection that sometimes we can hear from ourselves.
Yeah, it's very true. And it's also very affirming. So instead of not loving yourself for these core attributes, for thinking there's something wrong with you, for what is built into your body, you begin to be able to love that part of yourself and offer it as a gift to yourself and to others. And that's invaluable.
Invaluable. Stripping out the nurture and letting the nature shine through. And that takes us to the next step of wellness, and that is familial wellness, the wellness of the people around you, the wellness of your family, because we do have responsibilities to those people around us. You cannot easily go through life just being completely self-centered, because that's not contributing to the world as I think we're meant to do. So being in a relationship is actually about supporting other people, and supporting other people, knowing their natural number, and especially your children, supporting them and honoring them for who they are, and understanding and really supporting them. They're not like you.
Right. If we were honored from birth in the power of our natural number, we would most likely stay more aware of that strength within us and not lose it. What happens very often is nurture layers over the nature. In other words, you're born this way, and over the course of your life, you stop trusting this power within you and this ability. And so as we're told what we can and can't do, what we should and shouldn't do, we start to bury our truth within us. And a lot of people wake up in their 40s and say, wait a second, there was something I knew when I was in my teens, or when I was 10, or way back in our youth, that we knew about, that there was more possible for us. And then we lose that in our procreative years.
Yeah, so the way that society is structured is good in some ways, not so good in others. There is a small case to be made that bringing children up in a community, like a village, if you will, is a very powerful way to bring people up. If we look back 50 years, and it's not that long ago, most people didn't travel far away from where they grew up.
Right, and we lived in communities with multi-generations, which means you had more children. People had a lot more children. So families were much bigger. So in your family unit, you are more likely to have all 9 natural numbers. Whereas today, you're lucky if you have 3 or 4 or 5.
And I don't know how many people today could say, yes, I grew up in a street and I played with everybody on that street. I certainly did. Everywhere I lived, there was tons and tons of people I played with. But that was 50 years ago.
Right. We don't do that as much anymore, right?
And now, we have nieces, nephews, nephews that, spend a lot of time in community, but it's all online and it's all playing games. There is interaction. They're learning how to work together. But
we miss that physical,
yes.
Our bodies pass information physically, and we learn about the different natural numbers from being with people of those natural numbers. So we may develop discomfort with natural numbers we don't know well. We may have experiences with people that are harmful or painful to us, that then we begin to associate with people like that, so of that natural number. So it's very important to understand this so that you can give and receive all of the gifts of the 9.
And I think as a natural number 5, the way I describe it, and is very, very natural number 5 specific, it's about the context of life. What is the context of the people around you, and how does that all fit together? And I think it's a very 5 thing, male and female, to figure out what's going on around you. And knowing and using that information to get to a place of comfort. And it's a very interesting, there are some natural numbers that can be with people in relationship, no matter how good or bad they are, as long as they're consistent with themselves. There's other natural numbers that can't be with people that are not good or that aren't authentic. There is no good or badness to those statements. But understanding that just because you react to someone based on who they are doesn't mean everyone else is going to react that way.
Yeah. So how does this relate to wellness?
It relates to wellness because, controversially, people will say life is about suffering. But as we talked about recently in terms of gratitude, I think there is suffering, but I think it's how we respond to it, how we respond to our environment, and knowing that people are different, knowing that people don't care about what we care about, knowing that each of us has a magical gift that we give to other people, enables us to come from a place of acceptance and calmness rather than necessarily feeling like a victim.
Yes. So what you're saying is it raises our awareness so we can recognize when we've got self-imposed suffering going on.
Yes.
We're telling ourselves a story that's causing ourselves to suffer, and that story may not be true.
So having your own natural number activated, and especially being able to activate all 9, makes it much easier to determine, okay, is this self-imposed suffering or other people trying to impose suffering upon me?
Or is it real genuine suffering?
Yes, and
right?
Real genuine suffering certainly exists. There
Absolutely.
is no denying that there is suffering in the world that each of us goes through, sometimes a little, sometimes a lot. It's part of life. But life is not all suffering. Life can be really good.
Yes, it can. And I think that you can learn to use your knowledge of your body and the 9 natural numbers to bring more happiness and joy and connection into your life. If you're feeling kind of down, find a 3 friend, a natural number 3, and smile, or just even try smiling. You know, we learned that for this. Try smiling, and actually
smiling helps
fixes
all of
things
us
a
feel
lot.
better. You fake it till you make it is actually a truth.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. So one way I think about this is there's a menu of choices you have in terms of how you approach your life. And then there's the appetizers, and then there's the main course, the entrees, then there's the desserts. And honestly, having too much of anything is going to make you unhappy.
You get tired of it.
Tired of it.
Yeah.
I hate to use the word. It's going to negatively impact your body. How's that? Let's be correct. So choose from that menu, understanding that other people are going to choose very different menu items than you do.
And none of them are right or wrong.
No.
I mean, that's one of the things that we when judgment creeps in. So knowing your natural number is really helpful for you to notice. It's like, oh my God, I'm judging myself. I'm judging this person through my lens. And I always talk about this, understanding other people's behaviors requires curiosity, wonder, and awe. You cannot know what they're doing unless you actually stop to ask, why are you doing that? And so, really getting deep into the why and understanding, just knowing that we're different, fundamentally different in terms of everything, how we take in information, what we care about, what's important to us, what we are good at, how we move. All these aspects really shape the differences.
Because other people impact your wellness. And if you see them as magical, amazing creatures that can give you a gift or want to give you gifts, then that is going to improve your wellness rather than thinking that everyone around you is
a jerk and an asshole.
What she said. So, and there's a case to be made that hanging out with jerks and assholes is probably not the best use in terms of your wellness.
Well, but, it's about the perspective, right? There's sometimes when
some people are jerks and assholes, no matter what.
I'm not actually sure that's true. I think that when you get to the heart of most people, there's some place where they're not.
That's possibly true, but it sometimes takes a lot of work to get someplace.
Well, yeah, and maybe it's not worth the work, right?
And honestly, if you're not being respected, people are not making you a better person, or at least keeping neutral. Anyone that is not making you a better person, anyone is certainly that is diminishing you for whatever reason, that is not work that you necessarily have to do to fix them, because you can't fix them. It's not your job to fix them. It may be your job to understand them.
Right, and I think that that's where the understanding and the tolerance comes in, and to recognize when somebody else's stuff is their stuff.
Yes, because wellness is you. It's how you approach the world. It's how you keep fit. It's how you look after yourself. To some extent, it's how you look after the planet. It's how you look after the people around you. But it's very hard to look after other people if you don't look after yourself.
Yes, so it always starts with you, as does Body of Nine. It starts with you knowing your natural number. Then as we expand our awareness of the world around us and the impacts, understanding the other natural numbers, understanding how our life choices are affecting our wellness, all very important and very, very related, as it turns out.
And knowing, the things that you enjoy doing, the things you don't enjoy doing, which we believe are quite closely connected to your natural number, helps you understand if you want to do something, you really, really want to do something, and it's not in your natural number's nature, it's going to be harder to do. Still do it, but anything that is in your nature is going to be much easier.
And it may not be as rewarding or satisfying.
Yes. There's many things that you may do because your brother or your sister does it, or your parents say you should do it, and you do it because they said so. And in later life, you may be glad that they made you do it, but you're not going to enjoy it as much as the things that really help your natural number flourish.
Yeah, and I studied mathematical economics and computer science in college, and I look at that as one of the best mistakes I ever made.
I studied computer science, computation, and it's the best thing I ever did. Right. So, and you notice I bounce up and down. So, the things that support you and nurture you are the things to do. And this is the time.
And that promotes wellness.
And it promotes wellness.
Because you're happier when you're doing things that are satisfying and fulfilling.
This is time of the great job leaving. This time in the way the world is, thousands of people are leaving their jobs. Not a bad thing if your job doesn't support you. Now's the time to choose things that do support you.
Yes, and that's another aspect of wellness, is not getting stuck in burnout because you're doing things that are taking all your energy and not feeding you. So, in order to stay well, you have knowing who you are and knowing what your skills and strengths are and what fulfills you, which comes from understanding your natural number. It gives you a shortcut to that through the confusion that you might be experiencing.
And I can hear you say, well, Martin, Susan, I have to go to work because I have to make money to feed my family. And I hate that. I may offer to you that there is fulfillment and growth and joy in doing what you have to do. There is a reward that comes from doing what you have to do, even if it's putting off the things you really want to do. The understanding that you're doing something good for the family is an important part of the assurance that you're on a path for the family.
And you can look within what's available to you to find the pieces that matter to you. So if you are, all about engagement and you've got a job that's not engaging with people, you need, adding that to the job in some way would help a lot.
Yeah.
So just understanding what's important to you, how does that fit with your body and your job so that it all lines up, it makes it all much easier and more healthfully.
Yeah, and so looking at your decisions, well, you've decided you want to stay in this job for another whatever time because you need the money coming in, that's an awesome decision. You might not necessarily like that you had to make it, but you've made an amazing decision on behalf of your family. And so it's not always completely negative to get stuck doing something that you don't want to do because you're doing it on behalf of other people. And that's kind of noble.
Well, yes, and it's even better if you can find...
If you can, but there's many people that can't.
No, I get that.
So, I'm just supporting all you guys that are saying, but I have to do what I have to do. And if you have to do it, good on you. Really, really good on you for doing what you have to do. The only question I would ask is, if when you activate your natural number, do you really have to? I think that's a good time.
Thanks for tuning in. Oh, I do actually want to say one more thing, which is we are partnering with coaches and holistic practitioners. We've got a brand new affiliate referral program and a partner program, a premium partner program, and a certification program all starting next year. Check it out on our website under our partner programs and come join us. We need you. We want to partner with you so you can bring your wellness and healing abilities more effectively to everybody that you work with. Knowing that the person in front of you is one of 9 natural numbers makes a huge difference in terms of how you support them as a coach or a naturopath or any sort of healer. Important information to supercharge your practice so you can be more effective. We're here to support you. Check it out.